this win. All right, so let's jump into that first and foremost here, and let's see what Coach LaFleur had to say in the locker room. You'll see screen grabs like this just to prevent copyright stuff. We're allowed to use the audio. Sometimes AI will trigger the video. So again, here is Matt LaFleur in the locker room last night following this 27-23 victory over the Arizona Cardinals.
Victory Monday! Hey, man, there's never a doubt. What we say, just keep swinging. It ain't always going to be easy. Give it up for yourself. There was a lot of great performances out there, but I got to mention 3 guys, all right? This guy came in freaking a week ago, and he just kicked the longest field goal in Next guy had a career day, 3 sacks. Yeah. Michael Parsons.
I just appreciate y'all for walking with me. This journey hasn't been easy, but y'all been making this special. Can't wait to keep going.
There was some doubt whether or not this guy was going to play today.
Back to back.
Fine. Josh Jacobs.
I don't ever want anybody in here to doubt what I give and how I care about y'all boys, bro. Every day I come in this bro to work, and I can't look you in the eye, bro, if I don't give everything I got. I love y'all boys, bro, and I appreciate y'all for everything, bro. Let's keep working.
And I just want to tell you guys, I'm so proud of you. We came in here against adversity from last night. We gutted it out. We saw some glimpses of complimentary football, defense getting us the ball. We go putting points on the board. We just got to keep driving that home. Every game, one play at a time.
Go back on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go back.
All right, there you go. So the audio from within the locker room, Packers picking up a big win there as they improve to 4-1-1. They're now the number 2 seed in the National Football Conference. Now let's talk about Matt LaFleur for a second. We're going to continue to give you guys updates on this every single week as Matt LaFleur continues to just tally up win after win. I understand this upsets some fans. They can get over it. The fact that there's a portion of the fan base that somehow think Matt LaFleur is not a good head coach, it's still mind-boggling to me. Is he perfect? No. There's no coaches that were. You could talk to Vince Lombardi's players, and they had negative things to say about Vince Lombardi. I guarantee you at the time there were negative fans when they first hired Vince Lombardi. And now am I saying that Matt LaFleur is Vince Lombardi? Absolutely not. Nobody is. He's one of one, right? But the point is there's no head coach in the history of the game that was perfect. Bill Belichick has more championships than any other coach in NFL history, more Super Bowls, right? He's been criticized more than anybody over the last 5 years. So, again, there's no perfect coaching candidate or coaching hire, right? However, Matt LaFleur, man, I'm telling you, he's one of the best to ever do it. As you can see here, the winning percentage amongst head coaches in the history of the National Football League. We're going to continue to update it again, like I said, every single week that Matt LaFleur gets a win. He has now passed Paul Brown. Yesterday on the show, I believe I had mentioned that it was Don Shula he was going to pass. I was wrong there. It was actually Paul Brown, Hall of Fame coach. So he's now passed Tony Dungy in winning percentage, who was sitting at 668. And then yesterday he passed Paul Brown, who's sitting at 672. Guys, what this means is Matt LaFleur is winning 67% of the games he's coached in, right? And again, for the longest time, it was, well, he's got Aaron Rodgers. He's got Aaron Rodgers. Guys, he's doing it without Aaron Rodgers now, obviously, for 3 years now. He continues to pile on the wins and up in that winning percentage. He's now at 675. So next on the list, currently Jim Harbaugh is just above Matt LaFleur at 676. Like I said, Matt LaFleur sitting at 675. But keep in mind, Jim Harbaugh has only coached in, what is the total games? 88 games. Matt LaFleur has coached in 106. So next on the list, because Harbaugh, again, will continue to win games just like Matt LaFleur will, so they'll probably pass each other, a time and time after again. But Don Shula is next on the list. If Matt LaFleur wins this week, if my numbers are correct here, I think he will pass Don Shula in winning percentage. If not, it'll happen in the next couple of wins as long as they don't go on a losing streak here. So if you guys don't know who Don Shula is, he coached for the Baltimore Colts. And then, of course, he coached for the Miami Dolphins, who they are the only undefeated team in the history of the game, the 1972 Dolphins. So with that being said, if Matt LaFleur passes Don Shula, that's another Hall of Fame coach. And then next on the list will be Papa Bear George Halas, who's sitting at 682, another Hall of Fame coach. So I'm telling you, man, if Matt LaFleur continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be in the top 10 in the history of the league in winning percentage going into next season, which is just absolutely wild to think that there are some fans who are still calling for his job. Does he got to win a championship? Absolutely, he does. There's no two ways about that. But the fact that Matt LaFleur has now put him, guys, look at some of the names he's passed in winning percentage. Paul Brown, Hall of Famer. Tony Dungy, Hall of Famer. Sean McDermott, who coaches the Buffalo Bills. Some would say he's one of the best coaches in the last 25 years. I don't know if I agree with it, but there are some people that say that. Andy Reid. Andy Reid is sitting at 650. Matt LaFleur is starting to put a lot of distance between him and Andy Reid. There's now six different guys, right? 6 different coaches in between him, or at least 5 different coaches in between Matt LaFleur and Andy Reid. Now, again, Andy Reid's got the championships. That's the only thing, the only notch that Matt LaFleur needs on his belt is to win that Lombardi, to win that Super Bowl. Kevin O'Connell won Coach of the Year last year. Everybody loves Kevin O'Connell. He's sitting at 649, right? George Seifert, who coached for the 49ers. You can go down this list, and again, this is just a screen grab on X. You can go down this list and find a bunch of Hall of Fame coaches that Matt LaFleur has absolutely smoked in winning percentage. So again, the point isn't to say Matt LaFleur is perfect. We know he's not. Nobody is. But damn, can we just take a second and appreciate the fact that Matt LaFleur is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game? I mean, that's what the record says. How many coaches won 13 games 3 different times in a season, you know? And now, again, he's continuing to just build upon that resume, that Hall of Fame resume, with Jordan Love at the helm. And now all of a sudden, Jordan Love is looking like a top 5 QB, right? Possibly top 3. And who's responsible for that? Is it just Jordan Love? Or does Matt LaFleur get a little bit of praise for that too? I mean, because the reality is Jordan Love has been handcrafted, right, by Matt LaFleur. Just like many people didn't want to give Mike McCarthy credit for Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers had went to the Cleveland Browns, or if Aaron Rodgers had went to the Chicago Bears, or name another team, he would not have got the proper coaching, the proper training that it takes to be the player that he is. He would have still been a great quarterback, but we might have been looking at him like a Phillip Rivers, or who knows, right? But because you have Mike McCarthy putting him through, at the time they were doing what they called, it was a very, very famous quarterback camp that Mike McCarthy put Aaron Rodgers through. That's what molded him into the great quarterback that he is. Like, you take someone who's got elite arm talent like him, and then you get him with a good coaching staff, and that's what really handcrafts it, molds a player into that first ballot Hall of Famer that he is. So again, the people that like to dog Mike McCarthy over Aaron, well, he had Aaron Rodgers. He should have won more Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers. Okay, how many Super Bowls did Aaron win without him? And the same thing can kind of be said for now, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. It's like, all right, let's go get that Lombardi so you can put yourself in that upper echelon of not just Packers coaches, but all-time NFL head coaches. I'm excited to see where this team goes, man. It's been a fun year so far, and I love the fact that there's scrappy wins, like this 4-point win, right? And again, people would say, oh, you should have beat them by 2 scores. Guys, the spread was 6.5 points. We were just 2.5 points off the spread. Why are we surprised, that the games are closer than they are? So I don't know, man. But let's go to the chat real quick. I'm going to try to keep up with it here and to give me a chance to take we'll just go slow this morning since I'm flying solo and battling this illness here. But Elijah Gwynn in the chat said, "Boss man yelling at me for watching YouTube at my desk, but it's Victory Monday, gang." That's right, man. Go Pack, go. Appreciate you, buddy. Jen Wright says adversity builds character. She goes on to say, Josh Jacobs in tears broke my heart. We'll hear from that here in a little bit more on Josh Jacobs. Obviously, you heard his voice cracking in that video or that audio from the locker room for sure. Margin Cron in the house. Victory Monday. Let's get that diesel flowing. We get the diesel going right here, man. We're good to go. A little extra high octane diesel to keep things going along here on this Victory Monday. J. Cole in the chat says, the amount of so-called Packer fans that I block on game day is jaw-dropping. That's the big surprise, right, Jay? And I actually put a similar tweet out just a few minutes ago on X. Was like, I think I've got the algorithm and the X/Twitter feed humming because all I'm seeing is people complaining about Packer fans now, right? And for me, it's mostly positive, it's mostly constructive. It's hey man, here's what happened on this play. It's film breakdown. It's fans talking about the milestones, all that stuff. That's the way to fan, man. I'm just telling you right now, dude. Telling you. Elijah Gwynn in the chat says that last fourth down had me ready to fire him. Once they converted it, I'm ready to send them to the Hall of Fame, man. That's the ups and downs of being a fan, right? And you guys know how I feel about going for it on fourth down. I'm typically conservative. There was something different last night, and we're going to dive into that. Matter of fact, that's a good segue there, Elijah. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll put you on the payroll. Let's jump into a couple more audios here, okay? So first of all, this is the Tucker Kraft touchdown. This is the audio from the in-game feed, all right? So courtesy of Fox NFL. This was Jordan Love hitting Tucker Kraft for the tying score. I apologize if it's too loud or too low. I'll try to find the sweet spot by the time this show is over. But again, here we go. This was Jordan Love finding Tucker Kraft. This was the very first play of the fourth quarter. Packers are trailing 20-13.
To the right side of Love, who fakes the handoff to Jacobs, and now throws, and it's taken in for a touchdown by Kraft.
Love it. So there you go. You see Tucker Kraft scoring there with the first play of the fourth quarter. Again, when the game's on the line, think play or not play, right? We see it time and time and time again. Well, let's fast forward now to that fourth down play that we were talking about, right? This is a 4th and 2, okay? 2:32 left in the game. And guys, just to give you an idea of how I felt about them going for this, I went through this up and down moment. Like when they chose, they were, maybe they were going to go for it and then decided, all right, we're going to walk the field goal unit on, and then they changed their mind and they end up going for it. I kind of felt like they were going to try to draw them off sides. And then it hits me when they get back on the field. I'm going, man, if they draw them off side, or if they don't draw them off sides here, they got to waste their last time out, right? If you don't get it here, you get the 2-minute warning stopping you, but essentially, or stopping the clock once. But essentially what you got here is this is really the game on the line here, this one play. And the fact that Jordan went out there and was just like, all right, we're running the play. And listen, Matt LaFleur, we'll give you the origin of everything and how it unfolded here in just a second. Let's just play the audio from the play. Again, this is a 4th and 2, okay? And they come out in a tray left set, and they've got it's basically Trey Nasty left, and you got Dobbs split out a little bit wide as the X sidecar, same size as Dobbs. But let's hit the audio here. This was Jordan Love, 4th and you need 2 yards, guys, 2 yards. And Jordan Love loads this thing up and throws an absolute dime piece to Tucker Kraft on a corner/out route. It's more of an option route. And you'll hear from Matt here in a minute. But essentially what they were doing on this play was they had a man beater on one side, and they had a man beater and a zone beater selected, right? And what happens is you can come out and can. Now, I know a lot of fans were talking last week. I think it was last week or the week before. They were talking about how man, every time we we go to a run. They know that the can is the run. We need to change that up. Guys, you can have 2 pass plays called and can 2, you know what I mean? You got a pass play called, you don't like the look. You got a zone beater, you don't like the look, you can do a man beater. You can come out with 2 run plays called, right? And you don't like what you get, you call a can and you go to the second run play. It can be a pass and then a run with the can. It can be a run with the pass as a can. So that's all a bunch of BS. That's just fans trying to nitpick and think they're smarter than they are in terms of, well, the coaches, they're way too predictable. It's just, that's not how that operated there. But anyway, they came out. We find out, hindsight's 2020. We find out from Matt LaFleur that what it was you had a man beater and a zone beater. Well, Jordan read zone, okay? He was reading zone, so he checked or he canned to the zone play. Or maybe he didn't can out at all. He stuck with the zone play, and it ended up being man coverage. And it still ended up working. We'll hear more from Matt LaFleur on that in just a second. But again, if you guys follow the show closely, we create the game plan on our Patreon group every week. If you guys remember, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, you get access to that every week. And what we do is we put together a game plan. And one of the things we talked about all week long was they're going to play a lot of shell look. They're going to play a lot of quarters coverage. Okay. And the thing about that shell look, it's what we did under Joe Barry. And I know fans soured on it quick, but you're showing the same 2 high shell look every single play. And then you're disguising everything. So what you're doing is you're taking the ability to read pre-play out of the quarterback's hands. So now everything's got to be a post-snap decision, okay? Well, Jordan came out and he thought he read zone and ended up being man, if I remember correctly. Again, we'll hear from LaFleur in a second, but here's the audio. 2:32 left in the fourth quarter, 4th and 2 play. When the money's on the table, he goes looking for Tucker Kraft again. Here we go.
Jordan Love and the Packers on 4th down. Love throws to the outside. It's caught for a first down by Kraft.
Love to see it, man. And then you've got Tucker Kraft over there, high-fiving Packer fans in Arizona. Love to see it. Want to give a shout-out to the Packer fans who showed up for that game. Absolutely awesome turnout. You could hear the Go Pack Go chants going nuts in the stadium. It's so cool that the Packers can go halfway across the country and it still feel like a home game. So, listen, the fans catch a lot of criticism for selling Packers tickets and this and that. But boy, oh boy, yesterday, man, they showed up in Arizona. So it goes both ways for sure. I'm going to try to remember that next time I'm overly critical of fans like that. So again, that was Tucker Kraft with the play. So let's throw this image up here as we actually no, it's going to be Matt LaFleur now. So we got Matt LaFleur at the podium last night, and he describes what happened on that 4th down play. Okay, I said Packers head coach Matt LaFleur walks us through how he made the decision to go for that crucial 4th down that led to the win. Again, we showed you his winning percentage, right? We talk about how I think he's an underrated head coach. Now, as you dive into this, you're starting to see how he depends on his players, how he trusts his players to make plays, guys. That's a big part. You can scheme the hell out of a defense, right? You can do everything right in that regard. But when the game's on the line, are you going to be able to make those split-second decisions that's the difference between a win or a loss? Matt's gotten criticized for that in the past. Yesterday, knocked it out of the park. Here's Matt LaFleur on that 4th down conversion that we just played for you, where Jordan Love hit Tucker Kraft. Is a 4th and 2, and they end up getting like a 15-yard gain, right? So here we go. Here's Coach LaFleur at the podium last night.
He did.
You had a really big decision to make there, and you started running out the kicker. You called the timeout. What was going through you? What made you decide to do what you ended up doing?
Well, when our quarterback's coming off, and I can see the disdain on his face, and I looked up at the clock, saw how much time was left. It wasn't by any means a chip shot, although Lucas has come in and done a hell of a job. So I just one of those deals where I was like, no matter what we call, this guy's going to make it work. And that's exactly what happened, because we had a play called for 1 versus man in Candidate versus zone, and didn't necessarily get the play that we wanted, but it doesn't matter sometimes when you have guys that have confidence in what they're doing, and Tuck did a hell of a job winning on the route. Our O-line protected, and Jordan gave him a chance, and that's exactly what it took.
I'm going to rewind it one more time here. Again, listen what he says about that can play, okay? Let's listen one more time.
Disdain on his face.
You started running out the kicker. You called the timeout. What was going through you? What made you decide to do what you ended up doing?
Well, when our quarterback's coming off, and I can see the disdain on his face, and
all right, so let's pause there. So he's deciding, all right, let's kick the field goal. Jordan comes off, and Jordan looks disgusted, right? Now, how many times did we see Aaron Rodgers look like that, and he got raked over the coals, right? Guys, these are grown-ass men out there trying to make decisions in a split second and make sure it's the right decision for the right moment, right? And so with that being said, you can't be overly critical of these guys when they get emotional. It's the same thing with Matt LaFleur on the sideline, right? How many times have I been critical of Matt? Like, I wish he would control his emotions a little bit. I think he's controlling his emotions a lot more this year, and I don't know if I like it. So I keep going back and forth on that as well, right? But I love that he said he's seen the disdain on Jordan Love's face as he came off the field, right? And was like, hey, you know what? Hell with it. Get back out there. If you got that much confidence in you, I got that confidence in you as well. Let me hit the super chat, and then we'll continue on with what Matt LaFleur had to say. Mike Witt with the super. Thank you, buddy. He says, hey, guys, 2 things. 1, that was so awesome watching Micah wreck the game yesterday. We'll get to that here in a minute, too, Mike, for sure. 2, why didn't Hafley put Hobbs on the bench in the second half? He was horrible yesterday. More Valentine, please. Mike, we kind of hit this in the postgame show, right? It's a free agent signing, man. I know it's not the answer you want to hear, because it's the answer I don't want to give, But and again, it's not like it's this huge contract, right? Where it's like, oh man, we can't get out of it, because if it does end up being a bust, we'll dive into it a little bit deeper in later in the week, but I'm pretty sure you can get out of it after 2 years. It might even be 1 year. You can kind of break even. Now, you wasted some money up front if that's the case, but it's still an early season too. And listen, Nate Hobbs has battled injury, so he's you see some players struggling week 1, week 2. What do we say? Well, it's early in the season; they got to get their feet under them, right? Well, Nate Hobbs, this is still like the first 2 or 3 games of the year for him because he was so far behind on training camp. And that may sound like I'm making an excuse for him, and maybe I am. I'm just trying to think of the glass half full there. With that being said, you know how I feel, man. I want Valentine on the outside. So the problem is if you're going to play Nate Hobbs in the slot, Javon Bullard goes to the bench. Javon Bullard's been one of your best run defenders, right? Nate Hobbs is too. So what you've got is 2 slot corners that are good at playing the run for slot corners, right? But both of which can't cover that well. So you're kind of in between there. So again, if our run defense was struggling more, I'd be more apt to make a change. But right now, the run defense has been pretty solid up to this point. You've essentially got a top 3, top 5 run defense. So it's tough to make that decision. For me, I guess what I'm saying, Mike, I would have kept him in. I wouldn't have benched him. I would have did what Half did. But I understand exactly where you're coming from because it's getting close. You get 2 or 3 more games like that, maybe you're forced to make that decision. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. Again, I don't think that's a silly request or anything, man. I think you're spot on there. That there is a little bit of an issue with Nate Hobbs for sure. So, all right, let's go back to Matt LaFleur at the podium. So again, we talked about that, right? Jordan Love coming off the field, he sees the disdain in Jordan's face. Hey, look, no, hell with it. My quarterback thinks he can get it. Get back out there. Let's do it, right? So let's continue here.
And I looked up at the clock, saw how much time was left. It wasn't by any means a chip shot, although Lucas has come in and done a hell of a job. So I just
that's the other thing too, right? You're waiting for Lucas Haversick to turn into a pumpkin. Like, what else can we expect from this guy? He's hit everything, right? He hasn't missed a kick. So in Matt's eyes, he's also got to be thinking like, it's not a chip shot really, but he's been good. There's a lot of different factors coming into play there.
One of those deals where I was like, no matter what we call, this guy's going to make it work. And
when the game's on the line, think player, not play. That's what that is right there.
That's exactly what happened because we had a play called for 1 versus man in candidate versus zone. And
all right, so the play call was, the first one was, all right, that's a man beater. All right, and we got a can play that's a zone beater that we can too if we read zone.
Didn't necessarily get the play that we wanted, but it doesn't matter sometimes when you have guys that have confidence in what they're doing, and Tuck did a hell of a job winning on the route. Our O-line protected, and Jordan gave him a chance, and that's exactly what it took.
Lucas.
So that was supposed to, that should have been canned? Or?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So the guy asked, so it should have been canned? Listen, I don't know who asked the question, and this isn't a personal attack on them. But the look on Matt LaFleur's face, if you guys, I'm going to drop it for just a second. Look, he's just kind of like, immediately the thought process goes to, oh, so Jordan made a mistake there. Guys, he just won the freaking ball game on a 4th and 2, throwing a 15-yard out route on a dime. And we're looking for a way to steer the conversation. Oh, Jordan made the wrong decision. What are we doing? And we wonder why the fan base gets so damn rabid. That's very, very, very small portion of the fan base. It's just nothing is good enough. That I don't understand people that ask those questions. Anyway,
it's never perfect. And like, give credit to Arizona. This is part of the, I'd say, the genius in what they do is they don't give you looks that are easy that you can tell, oh, this is a man coverage look. So
what he's talking about there is the shell look. If you always show a too high shell, or the majority of the time you show a too high shell, they're disguising. Everything looks the same. So you come out, you do a little bit of motion, you try to read, okay, I think it's man, let's go to the man beater. And then as soon as the ball's snapped, you guys know what I talk about, the 4 things, right, for quarterbacks coming out of the draft. Accuracy, quick release, pre-snap read, post-snap read, right? Pre-snap read is come to the line, a little bit of motion, okay, I think they're in this defense. Well, when you're showing a too high shell, you're Xing one of those 4 things off the list that the quarterback can't utilize to gather information to put your team in the best position to be successful on that specific play. Right. That's why showing too high shell is so important in the league. And it's why Vic Fangio has had so much success as a defensive coordinator the places he's gone. So they disguise the look. So he comes out and he thinks, okay, I think it's this defense. It ends up being the other. So you go with the incorrect play, whether it's a zone or a man beater, and you still make it work.
They disguise the look well. It wasn't until after we motioned that it was like, oh, it looks like it's man. So
they thought it was zone, and it ended up being man.
give credit to them.
You mentioned Lucas. How big was?
All right, so there you go. Just wanted to break that down real quick, and that may be a little long-winded, but hopefully we all learned something. I know I did listening to Matt LaFleur talk about that because, again, it's important to understand everything that goes into the play call because as a fan base, sometimes what happens is it's just, run the ball. We need to run the ball. Then you run the ball, and what do they say? Oh, man, we need to pass. What are we doing run? It's like this constant teetering within the fan base of, oh, that was a bad call. We should have went with this instead of that. And we don't truly know what goes into the process behind the scenes in terms of determining, one, what are the two play calls you're going to call? What's the man beater you call? What's the zone beater you call? And then you come out and you get this pre-snap reading process, and it's okay. I think they're in zone. Let's can to the zone, or I think they're in man. Let's can to the opposite, what have you. So when you approach it that way, and then you get it wrong, now it comes down to leverage. Now it comes down to throwing an absolutely perfect pass, and like Coach LaFleur said, Tucker Kraft running a perfect route to beat it as well, right? So again, man, I think many people don't understand exactly what goes into the preparation and then just the split second decisions on the field as well. And listen, guys, I'm not saying that like I know it and many people don't. I don't know either, right? There's many times that you'll hear us on film breakdown. We're not in the meeting room. We don't know exactly what the call is. Based off what I'm seeing, I think it's this, right? So again, you just got to give people a little bit of grace. I want to give a shout out to 2-0 for this, one of our awesome viewers. He quote tweeted Matt Schneidman over on X, and Matt Schneidman with this awesome tweet. But I love what 2-0 for this put in the tweet, and I'll play it one time for you guys because I don't know how these GIFs, whether they trigger copyrights or not. But Matt Schneidman said Micah Parsons on the Packers going for it on fourth and 2 late in the fourth quarter instead of kicking the game time field goal. This is what he said. Okay, I'm going to read the whole thing here real quick. He said, let's see. He said, quote, I got a $200 million quarterback that I trust, and that's what he go do. RG like, oh, they going for it? I said, sit back down. So basically what he's saying, and you see the GIF now from Friday of Craig saying, sit your ass down, right? So essentially what he's saying is they were sitting on the bench. All right, bang. They decide, all right, they're going to kick the field goal. So Gary gets up like, whatever. Oh, they're going for it? They're going for it? Micah said, man, I got a $200 million quarterback out there. Of course we're going for it. Sit back down. Get you another breather. Love it, dude. Love where this team's at. Love the confidence that Jordan has in Micah and that Micah has in Jordan. It's just absolutely awesome, man. It's such a cool dynamic seeing this young team come together. It really, really is. So let's move along now to the next clip here. Hopefully I can get it set up just right. And this was Jordan Love in the post game. Let me make sure that we get the proper angle here for you guys. Thank y'all for being patient with me today too, man. It's been kind of hectic in here, solo, battling a little bit of illness. So I'm gonna have to go with the Matt LaFleur thing again. All right, I wanted to put the Jordan Love screenshot up there, but that's okay though. So this was Jordan Love with Fox NFL after the game. All right, in the post game post game interview on the field. And this is just Jordan talking about this win, man. And again, I love the fact that there's so many pictures of him and Michael walking off the field together and everything. It's awesome. But here's Jordan being interviewed after the game.
Jordan, congratulations. What a crazy game. Can you take me inside the conversation, the decision between you and Matt LaFleur to go for it on fourth down?
Yeah, Matt, he trusted the offense. He trusted what we were doing and had that confidence in us. And obviously, you go for it, and it worked out for us.
Talk a little bit about the efforts of Josh Jacobs today. We watched him every time he came out. He had to wrap that calf, but he ended up being so crucial in this win.
I mean, Josh is a dog. He's obviously battling through some things, but he's one of those guys, you're going to get his best every time he wants the ball, and he makes big-time plays in big games like this.
To be able to pull this out after not leading until only 2 minutes left in the game, what does it say about where this squad is at this point in the season?
It's the resilience, This is the NFL. All these teams are good. You got to find ways in these games to come out on top and to go finish. Obviously, wasn't our best performance, early on, and you just got to find a way to come together and go win those.
Enjoy the victory. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Love it, man. So Jordan Love, QB1 out there, man. I just love how he represents this team. He's like, studying business and stuff, like, CEO, the face of the franchise, the face of the organization, whatever you want to call it. It's so important. It's so important. And it's so just kind of brushed to the side in today's society. It's all about who makes the play. It's all about, result driven. Like somebody said in the chat here we go. Nick McSwain said, people saying finally LaFleur went for the win, but y'all know if that fourth down call didn't work, they'd be saying he screwed the game up. It's so true. It's so true. And again, we've seen time and time again him being aggressive this year. Like I make the joke all the time. I wish the people on my timeline who say Matt LaFleur's too aggressive could beat the people who say he's too conservative, because there's both of them drifting through the timeline from time to time for sure. So again, yeah, as Corey says here in the chat, love his attitude. Jordan loves a man, dude. He is the man. So let's see what Chester Marco says here in the chat. That defense was gassed. Highly doubtful that a game-time field goal holds up. So logically, going for it on fourth down was the right call. It's another wrinkle, right, Chester? Another wrinkle to the decision that Matt LaFleur made to go for it there, right? And you take all those things into consideration in a split second. Again, you got to tip your cap, man. It was a hell of a call.